taking control, yeah.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Cookies and Cream Show. I'm Bib.
No, I'm Paddy.
How we doing?
Yeah, not bad, my man. Not bad at all.
Not bad.
How's your week?
Yeah, it was alright. It was alright. I'm glad we're doing this on a Sunday today, though. I'm pretty happy with that.
It's been a bit more refreshing, I think.
I think so.
It wasn't so rushed.
Yeah, the only thing that puts pressure on me now because I got to get it out by a certain time, but that's fine. But
We don't have to.
well, we'll see how we go.
But
To-
yeah, just see how it goes.
To answer your question,
That's all right.
To answer your question, my week was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good, but it was average. What about yours? You had it right?
Terrible.
Terrible. Why?
First week back into work, and I've been under a building and on a shovel pretty much all week.
First full
That
week
is-
back, correct?
First full week back, and it broke me.
I'm going to be honest with you, dude. Doesn't change after 2 weeks. It's a while to get back into the rhythm of doing it all again. Like it's nothing like a holiday. In my opinion.
No.
It's not.
It broke me. Yeah.
You broke
under
your what?
a house.
Oh, it
No,
broke
I'm saying
you.
it broke me. Yeah.
Right. I was like, what did we break?
I think second day in,
Yeah.
under a house all day.
under a house all day.
Come out for lunch. back underneath the house.
Define under a house though. Like, was it one with a bit of space? Like, because you have under your house, you've got like something similar.
Yeah, so it
And
was
there's
like
certain sections
it
you
was
can
like there was room underneath. It
Yeah.
was on bearers and joists.
Yeah.
At the good end we had it was enough to crouch, so you just had to sort of bop your head down a bit.
Yeah.
And then at the worst point you were laying on your stomach.
Yikes. And what were you doing exactly under there?
Just plumbing, just putting some water in, some gas in,
Just
some drains as well.
Just the generic kind of stuff, huh?
Yeah, putting a little bit of a pump out in, water to the building.
Fair enough. Hey, did you ring your old man for Father's Day? You asshole.
I did actually. It was a little bit late in the afternoon when I rang him, but I did ring him, did check on him. He
Yeah.
was doing well, which is good. I haven't been able to see him in a while, which is unfortunate, but other than that, he was doing well.
And
I had a roast for him too.
you had a roast for him. And he doesn't live that far from you though, eh?
No, like a block.
A block, and you still...
I'm not allowed to go see him, man.
I know we don't want to talk about this too much. Have they restrictions eased a little bit there? Because I've heard about them talking about like, certain things.
Not
No,
even.
Same
It's they are talking of easing them, but I don't really want to get into that.
shit. Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not. I think we've covered enough, and I think everyone's
Yeah.
heard enough of fucking.
I think
this
everyone's
shit.
over that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think they are talking of easing them. Whether or not they do or not, don't know.
Yeah, fair. I want to talk about something actually that's in regards to Father's Day.
Whoa.
and- what?
Sorry. How was your Father's Day?
My Father's Day was okay. It was sorry. I I say that as if it was shit. It wasn't shit. I think it was as good it would get for the situation I'm in. If that makes sense. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Okay.
I mean
And
that
what-
in a full... I mean, like, for example, so I'm still at home with parents. Ew, right? Irrelevant. So my mum, did a bit of cooking for us. Like, for me, my old man, my little one was here, Kalia. So it was nice. It was nice to just chill out. We hung out for a little bit. I hung out with Kalia for a bit. Just chilled out, did cool things, and I was kind of left in a little bit of peace mode, which was nice. And when I did want to, I got to spend time with her. I did get some pretty... I'm going to probably reveal too much here, but I got some pretty cool gifts. I'm wearing it. It's
It's her face.
Khalid's face with best dad ever on socks. So that was something that the ex gave me. So Khalid's mum. I won't mention her name, just obviously for reasons unknown of. And it
Nice
was
of her.
it was nice. It was nice, and we tend to do that. We are very very civil with each other. Some people might take that as a different way, and some people can't wrap their heads around how two people that were once, I don't know, in love and shared their life together and no longer apart, and they can't still be there for the kid. You know what I mean? Because it ultimately is about the kid. And I'm not going to go into too much detail with the story, but I get a lot of anxiety of people thinking that I'm like a shit dad or something. And each their own. Everyone has a different opinion, like what makes a good dad, what makes a shit one. Everyone's going to tell you something different. But I get really paranoid. Like, so I see my kid, I think it's fair to say 50% of the time. Like, it's not exactly, it's like 48, whatever. But I spend a lot of time with her and stuff like that. Yes, there's some days where I do have to work back and I'm not home in time to spend the time that I would like to.
Yeah, the quality time.
Yeah, and I think on the weekends now I learned to reserve time for her. So like even if it's the little things that she might remember, like putting her to bed or giving her showers and stuff like that, and even that shit scares the fuck out of me, dude. Because it's like I think we spoke about this once. I was like, I shower Kalia, and if I'm about to have a shower right afterwards, like I won't shower naked. I shower in my undies because I'm like I don't need. I get paranoid. I'm like, I wonder what people are going to think if I say I shower my kid naked. And to a lot of people, it's probably normal. And
No,
probably
I'm gonna cut you here. Sorry, man.
Mm.
I actually sort of agree with that with today's day and age.
Mm.
There's so many people against that. Especially even like dads going into change rooms with their own kid. Like that people aren't for it.
See, the
So
change room thing.
you having a bit of anxiety about it, it's sort of justified.
Well, it
It's
is.
sort of sad to see, but it's the world we live in
Yeah,
now. Like
I'd like.
I'm not a dad, but um, like there's definitely a point where you will stop being, let's say, naked in front of your kid or whatever, right?
Yeah,
But where's that point? You know, some say it should never happen. You should ask your kid for this. You ask your kid for that. You get your kid to tell you.
yeah.
Look, I'm not a parent, but there's obviously many different parenting ways. But
And
as
there's
long,
a lot of things that I don't agree with. There's no handbook. Like everyone's going to give you their advice, and like I've said before, and I stand by this. Amongst a lot of things, is whatever you do it on your own accord. Do it like base it on your own decisions, because there's nothing worse than, for example, someone tells you how to raise their child, or someone tells you how to raise your child, and then you raise them that way, and then something happens, or they don't turn out the way you expected, or the situation itself doesn't, and then you feel guilt because you're like, fuck, why did I listen to this person? Like, do your own thing, because they're your own mistakes and you can fix your own mistakes, if that makes sense. And that's the way I take it. So people might look and think, oh, people are against certain things like hitting your child or yelling at your child or scolding or disciplining, however you want to call it. And I don't agree with all those things. And some of them I do agree. Like I am the way I am because of the way my parents raised me. And that's just the way I see it fit. And I can't put it down to really, and life experiences, of course, as well. Do not get me wrong. But the way I react to certain things or the way I handle certain things is, in my opinion, based on how I was brought up. You know what I mean? My parents are very old school in their decision making and just their thoughts, whereas you and I are in a time now where technology is at our fingertips. We want to know something, we got Google, we got whatever, you know. So I think it's a lot easier for people to have a biased opinion or whatnot, but meh, like I'm not a shit dad. That's my ultimate thing. Was I a great dad? Look, it's debatable. Like I feel guilty for certain things, but I'm realizing my mistakes and I'm trying to make up for them now.
you can't always be there.
Well,
As much as like, okay, look, there's obviously times where you have to fucking be there.
yeah,
But like for instance, work. You got to work. You got to fucking provide for her.
there
Okay,
you go.
yes, you lose an hour of time with her in the afternoon, but at what point can you relax and then spend the time with her? You know, that's all that matters is that quality time. You know, on the weekends when you can, as long as you make the most of that. From when you can't, how do you really look back from that?
Well, that's it. And like I said, I'm trying to utilize the time that I have with her, whether it might be an
That's
hour or a day. That's what I'm trying to utilize at the moment.
that's just co-parenting, man.
Yeah.
It's always going to be difficult. I think. Look, my parents sort of had to co-parent with us. We were a lot older when they split up, but I think it was the best thing, to be honest. Obviously you don't think that at the time,
Yeah.
but you see your family later on in life, and if they're happier or sad, you know that essentially. So from in my case, they were it was better off. Maybe not for both parts all the time, but I think it was right, especially for us kids.
Yeah. And look, I'll be honest. I'm still to this day dealing with the repercussions of what happened, and I don't mean having a kid. I mean having a separated family now, like co-parenting, as you would call it. I, for so long, didn't deal with my own issue, such as like depression, anxiety, all that jazz, I didn't deal with that, so I wasn't able to be 100% there for Khalil when it was time to be a dad. Does that make sense?
Of course.
And I struggled with that, and I still do from time to time. Don't get me wrong; it's not like I'm fucking a perfect dude. I just hate the idea when people think, "Oh, single dad," he's not there for his kid and stuff like that. And I'll explain a little personal story without going into too much detail. Someone said to me, they were like, "Oh, wow, like it's amazing." And it might have been just the way I took it, but they were like, "Oh, it's really amazing how you're there for your kid and you do all these things." And it's like, why the fuck would you think I'm not? Like, and it might be their personal experience with things, like whether someone has a kid and the other parent's not there or whatever. But I took that really personal because I was just like,
you don't know me.
You don't know my day. Yeah, that's right. You don't know my day-to-day life. Like, I don't go more than, I think it's 2 or 3 days without seeing my child. Like, I see her frequently. Whether or not I get to spend the time I want with her frequently is irrelevant. Not irrelevant. Sorry, is not accounted for. But yeah, I fucking hate when people, they look at me and I've got a beard and I'm bald and I just look like a grub sometimes. Like, because I don't give a fuck how I look sometimes. And I hate when people, and I hate when people judge that category or whether it's the look or whatever. It's going to happen, and it's like us saying, "Oh, don't be offended by anything you say," because someone out there's always going to be offended, right? Which is the same concept. So I don't want to sound contradicting, but that's just the way I take it in when someone makes those comments, which it might be a positive thing, and they think they're trying to be positive, but I take it as like, well, what the fuck did you think I was? Like, you know what I mean? But this is also people that don't know me and don't know me from my day-to-day life, like yourself or my family or my closer friends. Like, you know what I mean? So I get over it pretty quickly. It was just something that I thought was a bit on topic to fucking mention. So
no, that's fair.
And like I said, we're civil. Like, me and my ex are civil. We didn't end in a war. We didn't. I've mentioned this before earlier on in one of our early episodes, but nothing happened for us to really go to war with one another for our child to be then affected by it. There has been some decisions where we do sort of don't agree with each other and we argue and blah blah blah. But that's going to happen inevitably, whether you guys are together or not. Like, that's the co-parenting thing, whether you're separated or together. That's the decisions that you're still going to have those arguments, no matter if you're separated or together. You know what I mean? So that's where it's like, I hate when I tell someone, "Oh fuck, this is happening," blah blah. They're like, "Oh, what a bitch." It's like, it's not what a fucking bitch. It's just, that's her opinion, it's my opinion, and we're trying to mutually agree on something. And sometimes it doesn't happen just like that. It takes a bit of time.
Yeah, I think that's always going to be the case. There's always got to be, I don't know, some fairness between it. Like, you can't always be one person's way. Do you know what I mean? You sort of got to understand their view on that way of parenting or this way of parenting, and then sort of just meet in the middle and compromise.
Well, and that's
not all the time. Sometimes it's going to be, this is it, this is the way, or that's the way. But sometimes there's going to be a compromise.
Yeah, and that's it.
Especially with like education and schooling, I think there's especially with separated parents. Does the kid go to school closer to this one or closer to that one, or do they go to a Catholic school or a public school? Do you know? And just little things like that. That's obviously nitty gritty stuff. But I'm not really talking from experience, but that's just I feel like that's going to always be an issue with parents that don't share the same beliefs as well.
And that's right. He's exactly right. Whether you're separated or not, like sending a child to a school, whether it's a religion school or just a generic school, whatever the case may be, that's an argument that sort of might not be had because you both agree before you had a child and blah blah blah. But that some people that are together still have that debate. You know what I mean? We seen it in the I know there's a bad probably relation to what we're talking about. Well, we watch Suits, and spoiler alert. And when Lewis goes to have his kid, he's like, "I want him to be Jewish," and then she was like, "No, like they're together, and they didn't break up over it and stuff like that." And some people, unfortunately,
no, but it just wasn't discussed before the child was born.
Correct. So issues like that, whatever. We live and learn, and we move on, and we whatever. But people have been commenting on the beard, so just quickly, this is staying. This is staying for a little while longer.
Beard's here to stay.
I'm enjoying it way too much. And maybe the bald head. I don't know. We'll see. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
I don't know about the bald head.
But
the beard's all right. I dig the beard.
The beard's all right. He likes it. Thank you. I appreciate your approval.
No, thanks, man.
Not that it was going to matter anyway.
Go ahead.
Well, your opinion Doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
Much
does.
like
I know it does.
It doesn't.
It does.
Not about
We
this.
are-
Not about this. People have said, "Oh, shave the beard, do this." Yeah, fuck off, man. Like I'm enjoying it. I like sitting there and doing this. I swear. You see, watch the last 2 episodes. I sit there doing this for way too long because it's just nice.
You think you're wise.
Shower thought. I swear to God, this is true. So I'm like, I wonder if the longer the beard, the wiser you are. I'm like, I wonder if this is a true thing. And then I met someone that had long as fuck beard, and I was like, you're the dumbest person I've ever met in my life. I was like, oh, shit, that shit ain't true, but I'll try and run with it for as long as I can.
I suppose that's all you can do.
Well, that's it. We actually. I'm not okay. I'm going to say upset, but probably not the right choice of words. We sparked a bit of debate on our last video a little bit, and I don't want to go into the topic too much. I just want to quickly just brief over it.
No, that's fine. Look,
acknowledge it.
If someone's got upset or angry or whatever their emotion is with something that we've said, I apologise. Look, we don't mean to offend anyone. Obviously, what we say is sort of where we believe in or where we think. A lot of what we say is just bullshit, and we're just here for a laugh. A lot of the time, if we are talking about a serious topic, please don't take it to heart. Like if you'd want to have a debate with us about it, I'd more than happily debate it. But yeah, I don't really want to get too much into it. But if you're offended, sorry. Like
we're sorry for offending you. We're not sorry for what we're probably sorry for how we said it. We could probably explain things a lot differently, a better way.
Yeah,
lot of the time.
That just comes with us being uneducated, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like if we say something and you're offended, look, I'm sorry that I offended you, exactly like you just said.
Exactly.
But I'm not sorry for what necessarily I said. Maybe how I said it. I'll apologize. But yeah, I don't really want to get too much into that.
I'll say this, and we can move along. We can talk. You can just talk about whatever you want.
That's fine.
I think the prime example is this. I said it earlier. I think in this episode, you're never going to be able to please everyone, and I mean this by take a look at something for us Australians. ScoMo, right? Scott Morrison. Without being a dick, we can all agree that his teeth aren't the best, right? And neither are mine, right? I'm happy to say that. More to the point is, listen, hear me out here. Stick with me. If we can sit here and bitch about, oh, you know, his teeth are fucked and blah, blah, blah. But I guarantee you, if he went and used money to go and fix his teeth, everyone would complain about using our money as taxpayers to fix his teeth. And you wouldn't be able to please everyone no matter what you do. Do you understand what I'm saying there?
I understand what you're saying. I didn't know he had fucked teeth. And
I'm not going to put a photo up because this isn't us bagging him out. This is not what this is about.
I didn't know he had fucked teeth. And
it just got crooked, and that's what
I also don't think he'd use taxpayers' money to do that. He'd have health insurance to do that.
Well, his money.
I know. I
where
get
does it come
what
from?
you're saying.
That's what people get that idea in their heads, and
I get what you're saying.
You can't please everyone. That's just.
Well, speaking of politicians.
Oh, here we go.
So no, it's not nothing politician related. It's more adult related.
Okay, go ahead.
So obviously you're talking about politicians. You know, you don't talk about that shit when you're a kid. You don't care. You know, look, some people might, but I definitely didn't.
No.
I still don't really, to be honest. But as I'm getting older, I do certain things now. Like for instance, last night we're sitting there, we're watching the footy. Right? We're just watching the footy, like just on a little call like this.
Yeah.
Obviously, because we can't be together and shit like that. We can't see each other, so we just try and catch up over the internet.
Yeah.
And watching the footy, like as we said, we're like, that's a real adult thing to do.
Yeah, it was. I felt it was a dad moment for me anyway.
You know, you're sitting there having a beer or having a Jimmy or whatever you're fucking drinking, and you're watching the footy. Like,
yeah,
it's sort of a dad thing, and it just makes you wonder. Like, there's a lot of things you do when you're kids, and you don't take any scene of it. But as you're getting older, you're like, fuck, I'm an adult. And
yeah. I'm doing an adult thing.
Yeah, like it's an adult thing.
It's so true. We were watching the I go for, well, I'm going to sound contradicting here, but I go for Storm, but I also go for Doggies, and we'll touch back in on that a little bit. People are like, what the fuck, can't do that. You go for Eels. So on Friday night we were watching the Storm game, and I was more watching it because I wanted to see the Storm play in the final 8, right? You were more watching just because you sort of enjoy the sport and You know, you were watching because I was watching, and it was just something we mutually were going to watch together, give or take, right? But last night's games, we didn't go for either team, but it was something like for me that I'm like, I wanted to see the Panthers win because a lot of the team comes from an area where I grew up. So it was purely just the fact that I want to see those boys do well. If they got to the final with Storm or whatever in the end, I'd still want to see Storm kick their ass because it's a team that I follow, right? But at that moment, it was more last night than it was Friday night. When I was watching, I'm like, I don't even go for any of the 4 teams that are playing today, but I'm watching all the games and I'm fucking enjoying it. And I get involved. I'm like, oh, that's fucking bullshit call and this and that. And I'm like, I don't even fucking care who wins at this point. Like, I just want to see a good match, which we did see. And that to me was just like, holy fuck, I'm getting old.
An adult moment. Yeah, I feel that with cooking. So like I've never really been a passionate foodie, so to speak.
That's for damn sure. How many times did you cook when we were living together?
Oh, never. I definitely don't like to cook. I'd rather do anything else than cook, to be honest. Like I do the washing, and my partner does the cooking. Generally speaking, she doesn't like doing the washing. I don't mind doing the washing, but I don't like to cook. So we sort of like team up like that, right?
Yeah, that's how it should be, in my opinion.
But for the last maybe 2 months now, we've been starting doing the Sunday roast. Like Sunday roast is a pretty traditional in most Aussie family sort of thing. Even not
across a lot of cultures,
yeah. So and I've been actually really getting into it, and so like if we go out, we buy a roast every week, and then we rotate alternate weeks. So I'll cook, she'll cook, I'll cook, she'll cook on just for the Sunday roasts. And I've actually been really getting into it, and I'm like, fuck, like real into it. Like, so she'll half-ass it, and I get into it about it, and she's the cooker. I'm not even the bloody cooker.
You cook once a week, and it's the only dish you know how to cook.
Nah, once a fortnight.
Are we gonna bag her out for her owing a couple of meals?
No, she did have to work, so that's fair.
No, I don't give a fuck.
I definitely didn't. I was adamant she was making them up. Don't you worry. And she did let me down on one the other day.
Oh.
Second day back at work, not this week, but I was working 2 days a week previously, and I was so excited. I just done a shit day at work, and I was so excited for this roast. I get home, and it was in the fucking slow cooker. Look, that might not seem much to anyone else, but I was excited for this roast. There's a big difference between a slow cook lamb and a roast lamb, in my opinion. And I'm not even a big foodie. I'm not even a big foodie.
I would say though, with lamb, I like a good lamb shank, and that's slow cooked. That's not a roast.
Yeah, I agree. So if you're having a shank, but I'm having a fucking leg. Do you see the problem?
Well, I do. I don't
want a lamb leg slow cook. I want a lamb leg fucking roast.
This is everything that goes slow. Anyway. You expect this, and then you get this, and you're like, what the fuck?
I expect this, I get this, but I want this.
Life is like this. I like this. Okay, Mr. Spectre, I put it away.
No, so, but to me, that's adulting.
Yeah, it is, and a lot of things we do now.
And I sort of understand it now. Like growing up, you know, your parents, if they're not big foodies, they don't want to fucking cook. They have to cook just to look after you. You dopey ass. Get out in the kitchen, cook it yourself.
That's right.
No, but I understand a lot more now, especially with easier meals as well. But I don't mind the roast now. I'm actually really getting into it. And I was even looking at I was watching Better Homes and Gardens today.
Oh my God.
That's adulting.
That's adulting. That's something you shouldn't admit.
And I was watching him cook a barramundi, and I was actually getting into watching him cook a barramundi. And I never thought I'd say that. Like I've never really been passionate about food.
But you enjoy it, yes?
You know what I enjoy more?
Go ahead.
Other people enjoying the meal.
Like a fetish?
No, what? No, I'm saying if I cook a meal, me personally, I don't really care what it's going to taste like. I want the person who's eating it, other than myself, to enjoy it.
Right. Okay.
Like
so does that mean you can appreciate?
For me, I definitely appreciate a good meal.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Could you go out of your way to eat something you normally wouldn't eat and appreciate the meal because of the textures, the taste? I went through a phase where...
So look, Sorry, I'll cut you off there.
No.
I
Go ahead.
I definitely appreciate other foods that I don't usually eat.
Mm,
So especially seafood. So my partner doesn't eat seafood.
yeah.
So for me, if I go out, I really enjoy getting some seafood. If that helps. But I never ever see an issue on spending money on food, or a good meal. Um, and I don't know why, but I like to see everyone enjoy their meal. I don't know if it's because like more like family dinners or just friends of dinners. I just like seeing everyone come together as a whole and enjoy a meal with no dramas. Whether it be even if it's just me and my partner, I love us just sitting down and enjoying the meal and appreciating the time we have together.
Do you think it's the meal or do you think it's the moment itself? Because I walked through it when I was just before we
Oh,
started the show.
it's definitely the moment
Yeah.
that I'm sort of after, but the meal brings the moment in my opinion.
Yeah, and I understand. Obviously, that's the cherry on top. That's my view on it. But I just before we started the show, I walked in and I was just like, "Oh, I'm so excited! You know, we're doing the podcast today. Then we're watching the footy after. We're gonna have a couple of drinks, and we've got a wager between the two of
We
us
do.
on the
We do.
game. And that it brings us back to the moment. It's like I feel like such an adult because I'm like, it's Sunday, and unfortunately we can't do it at the moment. But we're chilling out, we're drinking, we're watching the game. Like we're still doing what we would love to do if everything went back to let's call it
Yeah.
normal, right? And that's the part I'm enjoying the most. It's don't get me wrong, being you specifically the person makes it a lot more enjoyable because you and I just very rarely do we argue, except for last night when we were there for half an hour arguing about salary
Arguing the
caps.
same point, mind you. No, but yeah, I don't know. I
It's the
don't know
moments
if
for me.
it's yeah, it's definitely the moment, but I don't know. It's something about the meal and enjoying it with people you care about. So like, I'm big on porterhouse steak at the moment. And look, it's not an expensive steak. It is a more expensive steak,
Yeah.
but it's like there's nothing wrong with the sizzling steak. But I don't know. I just feel satisfied after the steak's cooked and we sit down together, and I'm like, fuck, that was a good meal that I shared with my partner.
With good company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I feel like if you just do an ordinary meal, look, not everyone is in a situation where they can buy, for instance, a fucking rump. They might have to only buy the sizzling steak or whatever the case be.
Yeah.
Um, look, I'm just sort of fortunate enough that I've been able to work through these tough times,
Yeah.
and still enjoy a nice meal. But yeah, I think it's definitely the meal's the moment, man,
But
and that makes me feel like an adult.
on that topic though, if you're not fortunate, because I always look at it like this, right? Someone out there always has it better than you, and someone out there always has it worse than you. That's the way I see it. So,
Always going to be like that.
and it you can't. There's something you can't change. Debatable, but that's for another day, I suppose. So, you're like, oh, fortunately, I can work through these times and stuff like that. But if you can't work through these times and you can't afford the porterhouse steak, find something else that you really enjoy doing and really like grab hold on these moments because honestly,
Yeah.
in the long run, they're the moments that are going to count for a lifetime. You know what I mean? Because much like you and I just hanging out on the weekend or during the week, whenever the time it is, and we watch the footy together, like I really walk away after like a night, like last night, I went to bed at probably we ended up watching the soccer. Well, I did.
Watch a little bit of it.
You watched a little bit of it, and I ended up going to bed. I'm like, you know what? That was fucking awesome. Like we got to watch footy. I watched the soccer. We got to chill out, talk, and just do things we like doing.
Yeah,
And
100%.
we can't go out there and do that shit at the moment. But we managed to find an alternative.
Yeah, it was sort
Solution.
of just our way of catching up, I suppose.
Yeah.
But look, I just use porterhouse as an example because that's what I'm enjoying at the
Of
moment.
course.
But look, there's a lot of other alternatives. Like I fucking love a good pasta, and pasta's cheap as shit to make.
Yeah, that's right.
And I feel like that's a really warming dish. A warming dish doesn't have to be pricey at all. I don't think. Look, like if your mum's spaghetti, like
I was,
fucking delicious.
I was about to put this on you.
That's one of my favorite fucking meals. And look, to be honest, that probably doesn't cost all that much to make, and it feeds fucking heaps.
She feeds heaps.
Yeah, Well, that's the only way. It's either heaps or not at all.
I'm telling you, and
the
I've
only
had
way
this,
she cooks. It's the
I've
only
had
way she
this
cooks.
argument with her. She's like, why didn't you tell me you were going to order out? Or why didn't you tell me you were coming home? I'm like, what the fuck is the difference, woman? You are gonna,
She wouldn't have made less portion.
the pot never changes size. You're gonna make the amount for the pot.
One big pot.
And take this and take some to this person and give this. You know what I mean? It's always been like that.
Always
Especially
getting leftovers.
when you lived around the corner and you'd pop in frequently, you'd fucking always like just shit.
Always.
Take this, take that. And Alex, fucking poor thing, loves it when she's like, oh, are they making pasta? And my mum, the good thing, she'll go out of her way sometimes to make pasta.
100% she does.
But
it's a blessing. But you know what? This is back to the meal.
Thank
and
you.
Enjoying yourself,
Thank
right?
you. I was about to say the same thing.
Because your mum's cooking that meal. She might go out of her way for it, but she's cooking that meal to make someone else's day.
Exactly.
Essentially. And then when we all sit and we all eat that meal, it's the moment. You got to cherish those moments, man.
So are you saying that you're inspired by my mum and you want to be able to cook for others?
Oh.
I'm joking.
No, look, I'll answer that. I don't even care. Your mum's an inspiration. I fucking love your mum. Like I look up to her, so I'm happy with you to say that. That doesn't even bother me one bit.
Fair enough. Can't offend this bloke today. Okay.
No, not today. I'm in good vibes. It's Sunday, roast day, baby.
As much as we're in good vibes, I'm really enjoying this podcast, but we're getting close to wrap up time. So
no, I agree.
I do want to do something before we go. I want to do the firing questions. I just want to.
You want to shoot me some questions?
I want to have it. Well, either. I just want to have a quick laugh about just before we go and wrap it up.
Let's go.
Fast. You put me on the spot there.
Well,
can you go ahead? You got something on your mind?
I've got plenty.
Go, ask away, and I'll think of something in the middle of the question.
Well, it's not a rapid fire question because I'm not going to ask him that quick.
All right.
Should your partner be allowed to go through your phone if you have a partner?
To snoop or to just at any moment, like, oh, check this on my phone. It's on my phone somewhere, and then they go through the phone and look for the email.
Without you saying, go look at something.
I've always been the type of bloke that I never have anything to hide. If I'm committed, I'm committed. That's the way I see it. So I don't have anything to hide. Though I do think it's a respect thing to not do and go through those. Like, I think it's a respect thing to not invade in person. What's the word I'm looking for? Invade privacy. That's what I was trying to say. I think that's just a respect thing, but I still wouldn't have anything to hide. So I would say yes. No, it's not okay for them to do so, but I wouldn't have a problem with it majority of the time anyway. Because I don't have anything to hide. That's it.
Okay.
That's what I say.
I sort of agree with you there. I don't think there's any reason it's justifiable for your partner to go through your phone, in my opinion. If you don't have that trust, then there's already an issue.
Okay.
If you feel like you have to go through it, there's already a problem.
And okay, so what would be? This is where people would get stuck. Then, what would be your solution? And you can just say talking to one another, but some people might not have that comfortability with one another, which arguably again is how you run your relationship, so to speak.
Look, if you confront that person, if you were having an issue, right? If you confront them and say, "Look, I'm a bit worried. What are you doing?" They're going to either act in two ways. They're going to throw you the phone and say, "Fuck, look, nothing to hide," or they're going to be like, "Well, you don't need to go through that. Don't you trust me?" And get on the defensive. So
offensive. Yeah, okay.
It's catch-22. I know it just comes down to two people, and if they're right for each other or not right for each other. If you trust them or you don't trust them.
Yeah, and
in my opinion,
it could be something as simple as that. Absolutely. I just think some people are afraid of confrontation, which I used to be, but now that a job that I do now, which involves dealing with customers on a day-to-day basis, you kind of shake that off, and that's. You don't think so? Because if you can't...
No, it's not about that. Look, it's...
If you think something's suspicious and you can't find the means to come up to your partner and tell them, look, this is the issue I'm having, you're too embarrassed or it's whatever, the confidence isn't there, whatever it is, you find the alternative route of going through the phone. You have to understand that people do things for a reason, and it could be a different reason.
They're doing that to back up their doubt.
Okay.
They've already put doubt in their partner. That's the reason they're looking through the phone.
Okay.
In my opinion. Look, if they're picking it up not to snoop, if they're picking it up to fucking make a phone call or get a number
that's
or
different,
whatever,
and that's not what we're talking about.
Fuck, go for it. I don't really care. It's more to try and find something on them.
And what if you find something you were looking for? What's your answer then?
Man, it's depending what it is.
But okay, let's
If
just
if
go
if,
worst
if
worst case extreme. You go,
oh,
you know,
you know what? Look,
is it
people,
okay
people.
at that point though?
No, it's still not
It's
okay.
still not okay. But
No,
then
look,
you have
but
to agree
it
that
wasn't
it's.
okay on the other half
Thank you,
as well.
thank you. Okay,
So it's yeah, really just not right for each other. Or look, some people do make mistakes.
absolutely.
I do believe in second chances. So
Depends
people do.
on what the
I
and that's a personal thing because, for example,
that's each to their own.
that's a personal thing because, for example, all right, you and I are in a relationship. I know, and then
Fuck, you'd be lucky to land me.
I think it'd be the other way around. You know what I mean?
Anyway,
Anyhow, irrelevant. And I say cheat on you, and then you go through my phone, you find out that you were correct. I
it would depend on your response from there. If you own it, or you try to justify it.
Okay, so
in my
would you
opinion.
suggest at that point you would confront me saying, "Hey, look, I just want to make sure nothing's going on, blah blah blah." Some people don't have the balls to do that, but say you did, and then I openly lied to you.
I'd bait you.
Okay,
I
don't give
that's
away your
me.
tactics because
No,
your
no,
missus watches the show.
I'd want you to lie.
Yeah, so but then and only then
Because
would you then authorize
No,
yourself to go
because
through my phone?
no, I'm saying I wouldn't authorize myself to do that at all. I'm saying if I knew and I was to confront you, I'd want you to lie because then it makes it so much easier.
And if the only evidence existed on
Because
that
if you
mobile
don't,
device,
what do you mean?
well, if you could only confirm that your accusation was the real deal by going through my phone.
If you've already been through it, you know. So
Okay, all right, we'll leave it at that. That's
that's fine.
That's a pretty fair argument, and I don't want to keep going on.
Now to
One more?
back up onto that, then
Okay.
yeah, one more
Let's
to
wrap it
back
up.
up onto that is keeping secrets okay.
Depending on the secret, and I know that's very broad, and
No, I
it's a
agree.
broad question, but depending on the secret. Like if it's a birthday gift or something, absolutely, you are 100% entitled to keep that from your partner. Some people, for example, and this comes from my work style as well, which I've been burnt before via this, and I've learnt my lesson, and that's just life. If someone comes to me and depending on who it is and says, "Don't say this" or "Don't do this," I will keep something from someone. If I find that it has absolutely nothing to do with them, and it's not going to affect any outcome of that situation, isn't going to affect that person, I don't really find reason why I should tell that person at all. If I think, but it's sort of contradicting because if it was the other way around, if a worker comes to me and goes, "Look, I have this issue,"
It was
I don't
more
want-
about like from
partners. No, but work is my relationship at the moment, so that's the only thing I can relate to. But
That's fair.
if, for example, you come to me and said, "Look, I've got this and this going on. You've now told me a secret. You're trusting me to tell me." I don't think there's an automatic pass go and collect 200 for the partner to be able to, for me to go, I need to go tell my partner this because it's none of her business. It's not involving her. It's you trusting a secret with me. That's where I think, no, I don't think it should just be an open conversation with secrets with your partner. Some things are better kept from them because it could be something like they're better off not knowing and it has nothing to do with them. So why do you need to tell them? Some people argue, well, we're in an open relationship. We shouldn't keep anything from each other, but it's none of their business. What's your business? So I know that sounds confusing,
Well,
but that's the way.
yeah, okay. I'm gonna leave that there.
Okay.
That's fine. Everyone can have their own opinion on that.
I think it depends on what it is. What the secret is, that's how it gets determined, whether it's okay to keep from them or not.
Yeah, no, I almost agree with that. Obviously, certain things should be shared and certain things shouldn't. Um,
Very extreme reasoning. If you come to me with you're in trouble with the law or whatever. If the more people I tell then pulls them into the situation, very extreme
so,
reasoning.
so you're sort of doing it for protection. You're saying
That's
you,
it. And it's not
to
always
not to tell them to protect them.
it's not always going to
But
be that reasoning.
is it not up to them to decide if they need protection or not protection?
No, because you come to me in trusting that I would keep my mouth shut because if I do or say anything could affect you. If I now go to her, she can't sleep at night, she decides to tell someone or anyone,
little bit
could
out of
jeopardize
context,
you.
but I
It
get what you're
is.
saying.
But that's what I mean.
It was
depends,
more between a partner.
depends what the secret is.
Not,
That's
not
my ultimate.
telling a friend about a partner, sort of. But yeah, that's fine.
Depending on what the secret is. That's the easiest way I can do it because it's such a broad. Excuse me. It's such a broad question.
Yeah.
So that's the way I see
a
it.
secret can be this big or that big. So
Correct.
No,
Like
I agree.
comparing our sizes. Anyways,
Yeah,
we're gonna.
I'm small.
So am I.
Anyways, funny about that.
There's nothing. Don't start. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here. This is episode 11. I really enjoyed making this show, and
Check it out.
come check us out. If you don't want to watch the whole video, there'll be some clips online everywhere. Drop us a like, comment, subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. Check us out on Spotify, all that jazz. We love you and we appreciate anyone that gets involved with our stuff. We love you. Thank you. And we'll see you next week.
Cookies and Cream Show. We out.
See you. Bye.
We could be taking control, yeah.